Let's talk about Brioche Suri shawls. These are all my brioche patterns that use Ching Fibers yak singles yarn and the fluffy melted baby Suri alpaca. So in this video, we're going to take a look at all those brioche patterns and look at which ones are easier, which ones are more difficult, show you how to wear and model them. And we're also going to take an up-close look at some of the kits and yarn palettes to get you inspired with color. But first things first, we have two very important models slash helpers today. We've got Brioche and Stitch. You're going to be my models, okay? Exchange modeling for treats. So let's dress them up and see which shawls are suiting their style. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Look at you, adorned in your brioche softness. Okay, I think they've claimed these schlankets for themselves, but we need a little more info about what you're wearing. So Brioche, you first. Who are you and what are you wearing? Yeah, okay. Okay, so you're wearing the flying foxtail wrap. That's your favorite. Why is it your favorite? Because it's yellow. He loves yellow, don't you? You're so excited, Brioche, aren't you? Thrilled. So Brioche, I have one more question. Do you have any brioche memories in your life? You're 1 year old. How many brioche memories do you have? Oh, right. Okay, yeah, that's a good one. That blanket that I knit for you when you were just a puppy and I felted it. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, we're all not perfect. Okay, Sister Stitch, do you have any favorite stitch memories? You love brioche. You love stitches. What's your favorite memory? Okay, yes, you love eating my yarn. Thank you for remembering that, and I hope you remember that for a long time because you're never going to eat any more yarn ever again, are you? Okay, these two cuties they've served their time. They've done enough. So they're wearing some of my Brioche Suri shawls, and they're so soft, they take naps in them. And this Stitch is wearing the Seriously Holy wrap. So all of these brioche shawls have that like yak silk yarn and that fluffy cloudy fiber as a background. And I do this yarn combination for all my Brioche Suri shawls because it's so dimensional and it really amplifies that three-dimensional squishiness that you get with brioche knitting. So all these shawls I'm going to show you, like the Seriously Holy wrap, have that melted baby Suri as the background and the yak singles as the foreground color. So we put together a ton of kits at Stephen and Penelope so that you can pick a palette, and then with any of the kits we have, you can knit any of these patterns with them. So I use the same yarn types and same yarn qualities for all these patterns. And the Seriously Holy wrap is an easy one because it's a rectangle. So there's not too much shaping with the Seriously Holy wrap, and it's really easy to wear with that wide shape. You can just really wrap it around with the big rectangle shape for Seriously Holy wrap. And the colors I used in this were the Northern Lights yak singles color. It's a really beautiful gray silver base with like an aqua turquoise Suri colorway called Nassau. So 2 skeins of the yak silk plus 4 skeins of the melted baby Suri are enough to knit all of these shawls. So what I like when I'm picking out colors is having some contrast. So getting something neutral or dark as the main color, and then something light or bright as the background color. But as long as there's some good contrast going on, you're going to see those brioche stitches, and it's going to be easier for you to knit with. But all the kits we put together, I made them having good contrast in mind. But if you're picking out your own palette, shopping around and getting 2 fingering weight skeins for the main color, and 4 skeins of the melted baby Suri, that's going to be your background color. So I love that Nassau Lights, kind of Northern Lights inspiration for that Seriously Holy wrap. And I'm wearing the Seriously Holy shawl. So this is a top-down version with that big increase technique. And it really reminds me of waterfalls in this color palette. So this is the Okinami colorway as the main color. It's a really beautiful navy blue with these light silvery blue undertones to the color. And what you're going to get with that yak silk yarn is any color that's dyed on it. It gives that really shimmery, shiny effect with the silk. And the heathered base of the yarn has this like gray tonality. So all the colors are a bit washed and shadowy and heathered. So a beautiful nuanced navy blue with okanami, and 2 skeins of that and 4 skeins of the Sea Breeze colorway. So this one's really nice and neutral, gray with little blue subtle speckles that reference that okanami seascape inspired colorway. So Seriously Holy Shawl. This one's not too difficult because you just increase every so often, and there's some decreases at the border. So it's a really good practice for increasing and decreasing, but it's not overloaded. You're not always increasing in the body of the fabric all the time. So you get a lot of relief and really simple brioche rows to knit the Seriously Holy Shawl. All right, Brioche, can I have my wrap back? Okay, thank you. You can keep on snoozing. This one is probably my favorite brioche motif because it is just so flowing and organic with all the increases and decreases going on. And it's probably one of the more intermediate to advanced level patterns for brioche because there's always increases and decreases happening. But I would do like the Seriously Holy first, and then you can easily tackle the Flying Foxtail. The Flying Foxtail comes as a rectangular wrap with this beautiful golden palette. This is the Daffodils colorway as the yak silk color. 2 skeins of that Daffodils color of yak singles, and then 4 skeins of the Biscuit. This is one of my favorite Suri colorways because it is so saturated. It is just like golden flames in alpaca form. So 4 skeins of this will be the background, and you can see that lovely neutral soft on the front, soft color, and then the color punch on the back. So all these shawls are really reversible, so when you're tossing them around, it doesn't really matter which is the right side, wrong side, because both sides in brioche ribbing look pretty amazing. But I think about the yak side as the main side, because I just love that solid, silky foreground with the cloudy Suri just peeking and like misting through the ribbed valleys. It gets really poetic when you're mixing brioche with yak and Suri. So I just love this rectangle wrap. Really easy to wear, really wide and really long, and you can customize the size of this to make it as big as you want. But again, we usually have all these original colors, so you can check all these out at stephenandpenelope.com, and we have a lot of other color palettes. And any of these kits I'm showing you, you can do them for the Flying Foxtail wrap or the Seriously Holy Shawl. So all these patterns use the exact same types of yarns and quantities. And this is the triangular version. So that the Flying Foxtail motif is a triangle shawl as well. This is the small size, and there's a large size as well. So if you get one of our Brioche Suri kits, you can knit the large size of this triangle pattern. But this one's a little bit easier, I think, than the wrap. Well, I don't think they're easier or more difficult. There's a bit less shaping going on with the triangle. There's more plain brioche rows, but you're increasing at the edge. And this rectangle wrap, the shaping is easier, but you're doing more increases and decreases. So I think they're the same level of difficulty. I would just choose what kind of shape do you want. The wide rectangle wrap or this really nice triangle shawl. It has that focal point running down the center of the triangle with the Flying Foxtail increase-decrease pattern. This is one of my favorite yak colors, which is just outrageous. And yeah, I'm speechless. I don't know how to describe this because it's just my favorite mix of colors because it blends that subtlety and you get that like shimmery shine with the blue teal colors. Yeah, it's called Siren. And every single time we get it, it's slightly different, a little lighter or a little darker, but it's got rust and brown and green and blue and silver tones. It's just so earthy and it really combines well with any Suri alpaca color. So you could pick your own palette and combine this with a blue or with a gold, but in our original palettes, I put it with this dark forest green color. So this is called Dark Forest with the Siren yak color and Dark Forest as the Suri color, and it's just this moody forest palette. So if you really like greens and blue tones, then this dark Brioche Suri kit is gonna, really keep you entertained for all those brioche stitches. So that's the flying foxtail shawl. And the last pattern is another triangle shawl that's knit sideways called the Brio chevron shawl. And this is another big one with increases and decreases, using that yak silk on the front in a really dark colorway called Rothko. And the background color is called Sunflower Maize in Melted Baby Suri. So much more neutral, and both colors have that speckled vibe to them. So you get that really busy, painterly, splashy effect, but still contrast because you have a dark and a light. So take a look at some of our kits and see which contrast values are capturing your attention, or just get fascinated by a color and get the purple one or get the blue one. And you really can't go wrong with any of these yarn combinations because the fibers are just so luscious and really make the hand-dyed colors shine. Let's take a closer look at these yarn bases and you'll learn why I'm so obsessed with them. This is the yak singles base, and it's a fingering weight single ply yarn, so that drape and the thickness of the yarn will be familiar to you if you've knit with all those merino singles. But this has a bit more yardage on it because these skeins come in 120 grams. So you're gonna get 525 yards per skein, or 480 meters. So that's a lot, especially when you have two of them as your main color. So you're probably gonna have a little bit of leftovers after you finish any of these Brioche Suri shawls. And when you're looking up close to this yarn, you'll really see that gray heathered base peeking through. And all the hand-dyed colors have more of a subdued, washed out quality to them on that heathered gray base. And it's those yak fibers that give it that beautiful gray tone. So along with that yak fiber, there's a little bit of silk. So there's 20% silk and 15% yak. And that 20% silk gives you that shine. And when you see that really bright, saturated, shiny glimmer happen on the skein, that's because of the silk. And it gives a really insane drape to your shawls. So when I'm knitting with this yarn, I'm usually going with a US 5 or 3.75 millimeter needle. That's a really good size. And you get that really smooth, silky finish with that single ply yarn construction. You get the drape, you get that heathered tonality, and it's a really drapey fiber. So what helps it get more loft is by combining it with that Suri alpaca. So by using that melted baby Suri, it's a really fluffy, buoyant type of fiber and yarn. So it gives this like cloudy lift to the stitches. So when you're draping and wearing these shawls, it's not just a limp, silky, drapey, thing. It's got a little bit of structure to it. And that's because of the alpaca. And the baby Suri alpaca is blended with some merino wool. So you're gonna get 65% baby Suri, 20% merino, and 15% silk. So that silk fiber is like a core fiber in this melted baby Suri yarn, and that gives you a little bit of a strength to the yarn, and you get a little bit of that sheen peeking through the cloudiness, but it's really all about the soft melted baby Suri. And yeah, I just can't get enough with this yarn. It's technically like a sport weight yarn, because each 50 gram skein gives you 191 yards or 175 meters. So basically yardage wise, when you have 4 of these melted baby Suris, that gives you a good background color matching with 2 skeins of yak silk. So foreground color, background color, and it's just really soft. If you've knit with mohair, the mohair silk these days is really soft, but this melted baby Suri is even softer. So those of you always looking for mohair substitutes, I always recommend baby Suri alpaca because it has that fluffiness, but it's like next to the skin, baby soft. So I love this yarn, can't get enough of it, and just the amount of colors it comes in from Qing Fiber. There's solids and speckles and multicolors. You can really go wild or really sophisticated and calm as well. So that's my passion for yak and Suri alpaca. If you haven't tried it yet, you've got to do a little bit of brioche with Suri and yak. It just is insane and you're going to get addicted. But any of these patterns, you can also substitute with other fingering weight yarns or mohair if you love those yarns as well. But I definitely recommend giving these a try. And you'll find all these palettes at stephenandpenelope.com And if you don't find the exact color palette you're looking for, we have a lot of single skeins as well. So you can search for individual colors and build your own palette to have a one-of-a-kind shawl. So I can't wait to see what you make with these kits. And if you haven't learned brioche yet, all these shawls learn the brioche technique. And brioche, what are they waiting for? You got to learn to brioche today. You're missing out on a lot of squishy fun. So if you want to learn the brioche stitch, I have a whole workshop called Brioche Basics at westknits.com. So you can sign up for that and learn how to cast on, increase, decrease. What else do they learn? Oh, to fix mistakes. That's right. We never make mistakes, brioche, but in case you make mistakes, I teach you how to fix those brioche mistakes. So those are all at westknits.com for the Brioche Basics Workshop. And yeah, can't wait to see what you do with these patterns, and I will see you in the next video. Say bye, brioche. Bye.